talk about living a real life, issues that affect us, and how we can be able to address this issue in living a fulfilling life. This is the Real Talk Show that comes to you every Saturday from the hour of 8 p.m. to 10 p.m. with me, Aita Sophie, your host. And as you can see, I am not alone at the studio. With time, we will give an opportunity to our guest to introduce himself. But then, for now, we are asking the question, what exactly do you believe about yourself? It is said that the first impression takes up the attention about you. I don't know how true that is, but we will talk more about it. So, what you believe about yourself shapes your life. But I don't want to go much into that yet. Let's give our guest a chance to introduce himself. You're welcome to West Nile TV.
Yeah, thank you so much, Sophie. Thank you, viewers, for this quite a good evening. I'm really happy to be here, and I thank God that we are here tonight. It's a privilege to be here. I have been in Uganda for the last 2 weeks.
Okay.
And today, upon getting the invitation, I said I must be here to run the show.
All right, thank you so
To
much
run
for
the show.
coming along.
Yeah, my name is Titus Zuki. I come from Kenya,
Wow.
the eastern part of Kenya.
West Nile TV should be blessed.
Yeah,
all the way
yeah.
from
I
eastern part
tell
of
you,
Kenya.
yes. So I'm happy.
Well, you're welcome once again to West Nile TV.
Thank you so
I
much.
know you have a lot to explore for
Yes,
us
yes.
based on this topic.
Mhm.
Now, I want us to start with a quick story because we are saying, what do you believe about yourself? You just mentioned that you're a reverend, right?
Yes.
Now, there is this reverend. I want you to pick this story and tell us what you think of the attitude of these particular people. There is this reverend who took 41 people into the bush. They went into 2 years fasting and prayers. This was a clip I watched where they hosted him on a TV show. And the presenter was asking, you took 41 people, and he was saying yes, that when they were there in the bush, after the 2 years, Jesus appeared to them. And then Jesus, like they saw a light, and Jesus appeared to them and gave them, let me say, a story. Okay, not really a story, but a message of salvation to others. So the presenter was asking, before you were born, was there a message of salvation being preached? He said yes, there was a message of salvation. So the presenter was asking, what kind of special message did Jesus tell you this time? The man was not, okay, he didn't really say anything that made sense to the presenter. Then the presenter was like, you went to the bush and you stayed there for 2 years with 41 people. You did not come back with a toothpick. You didn't make a toothbrush. You were just praying and fasting. And you said the message of salvation was being preached. Now, I was thinking, I myself am a Christian as well. And, you know, I love issues dealing with social life.
Yes.
So, to you in particular, what do you think of the attitude of this? Was that the right way to go? What should they have done in particular? How do we call this, according to you?
Okay, apart from going to the bush for all those days.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say different things or different issues are addressed differently. But life or social issues also here are very key. And anything you do to a person or to a group of people, you must look at the end result. What would be the end result? So I would begin by saying, according to the story that you have just given, I would say maybe the reverend very well knew what he was doing. To him, it had purpose, it has importance.
Okay.
But maybe the people that he was leading, maybe he did not pull them to his understanding. You see, after so long, before you were born, salvation was being spoken.
Yes.
Now you are born, salvation is also being spoken. You go in a bush, and I believe they never came with the salvation.
No.
Because salvation is not only found where they went. They could even get it from without even fasting and going for all that long.
Yeah, that's very
So they needed first to understand who is the source of what they wanted, and how can they get it. Many times people do different things to make life, but they mess up with the life instead of making life or making what they want to make. So according to me, they should not have spent so much time struggling to get what they could get in a easy way.
Yeah.
Just in an easy way and from a simple place.
Even without going to the
Even
bush.
without going to the bush.
Now, we say the Reverend might have understood what he was doing, but then he dragged in the 41
Yes.
people who didn't completely understand why they were there.
Right.
So this brings us to, what do you know about yourself? Do you just go about following somebody because maybe he's your leader, or because he's your friend, or something like that? Now, how do we get to set our goals, and how can these set goals shape our identity?
Let me begin by simply trying to expound on the self-belief.
Okay.
I will just begin from myself, because I am here, you and I are here, because we believe, or there is a belief that you will do this show the way it should be done.
Okay.
Perfectly. I am here because I had self-confidence. After getting the invitation, I thought I can do this show. And I prepared myself to come here. If I had not understood myself, in a way I would have gotten confused. I don't know what to do, or probably I would have said, no, I'm not going for the show. So self-belief, or understanding yourself, or having that confidence, having that know-how about yourself, I think is what we are talking more about here. Knowing yourself, who you are, what are your abilities, what is your life, what does your life look like. So if you understand from that point of view, because the things we do, they must be driven by something. They must have been shaped from somewhere.
That's true.
So that is where I think, as we continue, we need to know, we need to understand ourselves. All dimensions, being a Christian, being an heathen, being who, you need to understand who are you?
Okay.
What are my, what is my value? What are my abilities? What can I do, and what am I not able to do?
You see, what you believe about yourself will make who you are.
Yes, that is it.
So, do you believe everyone in life has to have goals? Must I set goals to live my life?
Yeah, I would say without goals is like somebody who said, a man without a vision is like a sheep without a rudder.
Wow.
If you have no set goals, you have no focus, you just get lost on the way. It's like somebody going on a journey where you don't know the destination. Then I meet you on the way and tell you, Sophie, would you take me to which town is near here? You were going to Arua, or you were going to West side Koboko. Then going to Koboko, I meet you and tell Sophie, would you mind taking me back to Kampala?
Okay.
You know, you will take me to Kampala. That means you had not set your goal, where you are going. Your destiny was not right. So it's just the same. We need to set goals. We need to develop a focus. Everybody must have a focus. If you want to go far, if you want to make it in life, you must have a focus. Because when you have a focus, you find it easy to move within your life.
Okay.
Yes.
So, with the way you're talking, I understand that these goals help us to focus more, and it is these goals that we set in life that are going to prioritize our principles,
Right.
even the boundaries in life.
Right. Yes.
And finally, how to identify our identity is going
Yes.
to come from these goals. So let's talk to somebody who has never set goals in life. How do we start? How do I start?
With somebody who has never set goals in life.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let me just say, first, what you truly believe you are is what definitely you become.
Yeah, true.
If you don't believe you are something, it is.
You know, my pastor normally says that if you don't know who you are, somebody will tell you whom you're not.
Yes. And that now brings the whole confusion of your identity. You enter into identity crisis, whereby you get, you don't know yourself, you don't know what to do, you don't know, you've no set goals. So who you are, if you understand what you believe about yourself, that will definitely determine who you become. Now, a man called James Allen said, as a man thinketh, so he is. And then he continued and he said, so he remains.
Oh.
So now, to those people who have no set goals, I need to begin by telling them it is the high time they think about it. Because you must, as long as you are a living being, you must develop a life goal.
Okay.
You must have a given plan. It is not necessarily for it to be so big. There are people with big dreams, set goals that are big, great, but then they don't realize them. We will talk about it later.
Okay.
But then everyone has to set a goal.
Yeah, it is a must. You have to set a goal. We're not here to talk about goals. You can go to the previous shows. We had talked about goals in the first building a career show. You can go there and you find it there, how you are to set the goals. But now we are saying today it is a must that you have to have life set goals. So, Reverend, what do you think about this? How has self-belief over time evolved in Africa? Let's talk about the Africans. How have our own self-belief evolved over time, and what exactly triggered these changes?
Okay. I must begin by saying there are so many things, as I began by saying, that influence our self-belief. And the culture is one of them.
Okay.
Media like this is one of them.
True.
Of course, we have what we call the internal factors and external factors. Africa, we have our values. We also have our own culture.
Okay.
But in so many ways, our culture has been influenced, has already been, in many ways, it was westernized.
Yes.
And that is why today we behave the way we behave sometimes, because what we valued and who we were at first from our forefathers, in a way it has changed. We have inherited some values, we have inherited other cultures, and that has influenced us in a way that it has changed the whole thing.
Okay.
Our identity as Africa sometimes has in a way gotten lost.
Okay. So, do we have a future of bringing this back?
Yes,
How?
we have a future of bringing this. Like you see now, right now, what we are doing. If this can be taught to people and to young people, the young generation, about retaining and bringing back their culture, their values, the understanding of their continent.
Okay.
If we begin from that point, I think we can bring back the identity of Africa as a continent.
All right, now I'm getting more interested into this. We are Africans, so
What we need Okay, all right. Let's first go into it.
From where we left off, we were talking about what exactly influenced the changes in Africa about our self-belief. So I'll roll it over to Reverend to continue where he had stopped.
Yeah, thank you so much. I had talked about what we call the internal factors and the external factors as issues that have contributed change into the way Africa is or African belief. And when we talk about internal changes or factors, these are things like we need to improve on our self-esteem
Okay.
as a whole, as Africa. Our self-esteem was in a way lowered. When the Western came, there are things that they put aside with us. They influenced some of things and they took them aside. And we felt that what we were practicing was wrong. Not really to say the whole thing was bad, but there are things that they influenced us, and you realize our self-motivation, our self-esteem went down. And because of that, we inherited other things. So for us to get back, we need to raise our self-esteem as Africans. We need to be motivated. We need to self-motivate ourselves. Number two, we also we need to develop what we call, there is another factor that we call self-efficacy, efficiency.
Okay.
And it's good to know that as Africans, we can do things right. We can still do things right. Not necessarily what we do is, not always, not anything we do is wrong. We still have things that we do them perfectly. And if we have this kind of mindset, as Africa, we will influence our self-belief in a positive way. And we will get back to where we are supposed to be. So I think in a way we have been, we have seen ourselves as people who cannot do anything. But then I am here to encourage all of us as a continent, we can still do something more.
True, we can still do something more. But then, we have so much depended on this Western world that some of us who have been born into it actually lost
Yeah.
in it. What do you think is Africa's weaknesses and strengths that they can utilize in bringing ourselves back?
Now, like for instance, why should we go to look for resources in the West?
Okay.
While we have our own resources. For example, we have our own human resource is an important factor for any nation, for any continent.
Okay.
But you realize sometimes we are over-dependent on people, on the Western. It is because we have never valued what we have and who we are. As Africans, we can do it. We can develop our own human resource. We can develop our own resources to help our nations. But it begins with the understanding that we were created as people with importance, people with value, and we still possess our value.
Okay. Now, we have to come to that understanding first.
Yes.
That we are people with value. We have
And
to
the
first
ability.
value ourselves.
Yes.
And believe in our own ability.
Yes.
Before we can think of even bringing Africa back.
Right.
That means we have a purpose, isn't it? What do you
Yes.
think is the purpose of Africa?
The purpose of Africa?
I know that's a broad one.
It is a broad one, but I would begin by saying Africa as a continent, but it begins with you as someone, or somebody, or as a person who is in the Africa.
Okay.
One, I or you, you have your own purpose for existence. Because when we trace back why we were created, God created us with a divine purpose. Everybody has got their purpose for living.
Yes.
Now, holistically as Africa, we have a purpose to live.
Okay.
And the purpose, one, we can be a people. We can be a people to be used by God, even to develop others,
Okay.
to help other nations. The way we are using Americans to help us,
To help us.
China to help us, Africa can also be used if we identify our importance and our purpose
Yes,
very
you
well.
actually mentioned that we have a lot of resources.
Oh, yes.
From natural resource to human
To human resource.
Yeah.
Yeah. That is one of the most important.
So we have this issue of young people running abroad.
Saudi
So
Arabia.
Saudi Arabia, Netherlands, Sweden, and they are just going to do simply hospitality work.
Yes.
And don't you think a lot of our resources are being taken away from here, with even this Western world giving sponsorship for African kids, African children, that side,
Yeah.
and then when they have finished, they get
They get
jobs
them.
for themselves that side, and they don't want to come back. So how can we avoid this? How can we help ourselves to use our own resources to develop our land?
I must say, Africans, we need to get serious here. We have joked a lot.
Okay.
Why do these men use us? Because they did a research.
Now you're even using the word use us. Now
Yeah.
that's a very strong one.
Yeah, because
Wrong. Are beginning to us. And yeah, times, as I said before, when they're manipulating us, we still think it is good. Yeah, we still think even taking, maybe my father would be happy when I'm being taken away from West Nile TV to go and work somewhere in the
BBC.
US. Yeah, my father would be very happy.
yeah.
So, how do we come out from that mentality?
I would begin by saying, one, to see a light color or anybody coming from outside, they are better than
Yeah, and we are lesser. Just because we have a black skin. True, very true.
because we are everybody, we were created equal with equal potential by God, and we are equally unique.
West Nile TV, lighting up the region.
The search for Miss Uganda is back on Star Times Makula Chika. All regions compete for one crown. Who will be the next true Ugandan beauty queen? Do you have the looks, the brains, the confidence? This is your chance. For registration, log on to www.missuganda.co.ug before 20th June. Miss Uganda 2025 premieres on 27th June at 8 p.m. on Makula Chika. Stay connected on Star Times to watch the journey to the crown.
Miss Uganda, true Ugandan beauty.
This search is sponsored by Vian Esheri, Sino Mbale Industrial Park,
U-Home,
Xiaomi, and Tico Safari Lodge, and lead sponsor Tianao Furniture Manufacturing.
It's time to break free with Azam TV. Grab yourself a full kit at 80,000 shillings or an Azam decoder at 40,000 shillings. Experience the thrill of every goal in La Liga, Italian Serie A, German Bundesliga, and the excitement of live sports action from the Saudi Pro League and Carabao Cup on Azam Plus and Play Package in HD. Your favorite China Uganda movies on Chamuka TV on Azam Pure for just 13,000 shillings monthly. Unlock a world of sports and entertainment with Azam TV, the most affordable pay TV around. Visit any of our agents or call 0312-308-900 for more details.
Azam TV, entertainment for everybody.
West Nile TV, lighting up the region. West Nile TV, lighting up the region.
The search for Miss Uganda is back on Star Times Makula Chika. All regions compete for one crown. Who will be the next true Ugandan beauty queen? Do you have the looks, the brains, the confidence? This is your chance. For registration, log on to www.missuganda.co.ug before 20th June. Miss Uganda 2025 premieres on 27th June at 8 p.m. on Makula Chika. Stay connected on Star Times to watch the journey to the crown.
Miss Uganda, true Ugandan beauty.
This search is sponsored by Vian Esheri, Sino Mbale Industrial Park,
U-Home,
Xiaomi, and Tico Safari Lodge, and lead sponsor Tianao Furniture Manufacturing.
It's time to break free with Azam TV. Grab yourself a full kit at 80,000 shillings or an Azam decoder at 40,000 shillings. Experience the thrill of every goal in La Liga, Italian Serie A, German Bundesliga, and the excitement of live sports action from the Saudi Pro League and Carabao Cup on Azam Plus and Play Package in HD. Your favorite China Uganda movies on Chamuka TV on Azam Pure for just 13,000 shillings monthly. Unlock a world of sports and entertainment with Azam TV, the most affordable pay TV around. Visit any of our agents or call 0312 308 900 for more details.
Azam TV, entertainment for everybody.
West Nile TV, lighting up the region. West Nile TV, lighting up the region. West Nile TV, lighting up the region.
In case you have just joined us, you are watching the Real Talk Show that runs on West Nile TV on Saturdays from the hour of 8 p.m. to 10 p.m. And here with me in the studio is Reverend Titus, all the way from Kenya. And welcome back from that short break. We are just going to roll on from where we broke off. Now we're talking about we realizing who we are as Africans. And utilizing our own resources to develop our own land.
Yes.
And I actually made a mention of a lot of young people going off from here to the Western world,
Yes.
just to go and work there. Okay, they can get sponsorships there, whatever. After all that, they come back. For me, I see no difference with this pastor actually, who took his people to the bush and came back with nothing. All the way, like you are taken away from here to America, to US, to Netherlands. You study and you don't bring anything useful for Africa. And you mentioned actually something about when our own people see the light skin, they automatically start thinking less of themselves. And you were the verge of helping us unfold like how we can do a favor, we can do justice to ourselves to avoid that. So you can pick on from where you left off.
Thank you so much.
All right.
We were talking about Africa, and this is a continent that I personally love because this is where I'm born, this is where I've grown, this is where I live, and I know Africa is good, and we have all what it needs. For instance, there are so many nations that depend on Africa. I'm telling you, if the doors can be closed today, there are so many people who suffer because of that.
Okay. Now, these changes have evolved over time.
Yes.
Do you think our past experiences have a role in shaping our self-belief?
Yes, sure.
Okay.
our past experience in many ways has affected us.
Okay.
The same to individual. Your past experience in many ways, it shapes who you will become tomorrow. And these past experiences, after they shape you strongly, in a way, they can either change you positively or negatively. So you need to realize your past experience can either change you positively or negatively. For instance, one day I met a this young man that is not many years ago was studying in the university.
Okay.
This young man was brought up in a very humble background, very crisis was over every now and then. Relationship between parents was not good. And when this young man grew in such environment, good enough, and by the mercies of God, he passed so well, he went to the university. But after university, shortly before he finished, I met this young man. And by that time, he had become a drunkard. Now, I tried to talk to this young man. Young man, you are in the university, almost finishing, you are doing very good degree. Why are you doing this? This young man told me, man of God, it's out of frustration. I was brought up in this kind of a family. I could see battles every day. My father, my mother, every day fighting. And I have found myself just in drugs because when I try to remember the kind of mother is going. So this guy was affected so much by what he saw when he was growing happening in the parents.
Okay.
It was hard to get him out of that. And the second point, the second episode is like the So we are saying these past experiences, they can influence how we perceive ourselves, how we interact with the world. You can find someone interacting with the surrounding in a funny way. It is sometimes because of how or what he went through. And sometimes it also affects how we make our decision for future. Somebody can be triggered to make a poor decision because of a poor upbringing. Somebody can make a good decision because he was brought up in a very good and a friendly environment. So we are saying, yes, past experiences strongly shape our current beliefs.
All right. About what is happening now, I'm so sorry about the sound. We have some technical challenges here, but then God is faithful. Now, let's talk about, you talked about individuals, let's talk about Africa. How has Africa's past experiences shaped our lives today as Africans? Yeah.
Yeah, I will begin. Thank you. I will begin by saying, one, to become who we are as Africa, there are experiences that we went through. Some were not friendly. Some were not friendly. Others seemed to be good, but in a way, they didn't favor us. So I can say, like the torture our forefathers experienced in a way when they were trying to get independence, I think it is what has contributed to some of the failures that we are experiencing today as an African continent. Our forefathers were denied the right of expression in many ways. Their culture was taken away. And the things that would have been of value, instead of learning or being taught how to improve them, they were denied access of them. Technology began earlier with the Westerners.
Yeah, that's true.
It is now entering into Africa. Suppose we were taught this earlier, today we would be far, we would be somewhere. But it's like everything we were doing, everything our forefathers were doing was wrong. And they were only needed for to work in the chambers of the white men, do the jobs that were so demeaning to them. That is how they were being treated. At our place, we say they were doing the donkey work. So they were not exposed into things that would in turn help Africa. And that is why we have taken so long to come out of that. But I thank God we are coming out of that. We are coming out of that soon.
Glory be to God, because we will soon say all this is in the past. Now, there were the shamba boys, there were the maids, even up to now when they go that side, they are put at the lowest. They are put at the lowest. What you believe about yourself and about personal growth. So, how do we develop personally? Like, okay, let me put it in this way. How does our self-awareness help in our personal growth? Because we're talking about identity, right? Finding out who we are. So, how do I develop personally when I have now found who I am? Now, I believe that I can. I know, like right now, I know I can run this show as you had said. I know I can do it, I can coordinate it. But then, how do we get to develop ourselves after realizing who we are?
Yeah, I would begin by saying, how do we begin ourselves after we realize or where we went wrong? And we can begin by one. I begin by saying we need to have a self-evaluation, self-understanding. The moment we have self-understanding, I, as Titus, I have this ability and I can do it smarter, I can do it better, and I get into it. Sometimes we understand, yes, I can do a given responsibility, but then I have no motivation to do it. We need to motivate ourselves as we also wait others to motivate us. And then we get into doing it to improve our livelihood. Let's begin. Let's not wait. We need to begin it today. Doing what we believe we are good at. If you are good at journalism, go for it. Do it. If you are good as a pastor, go for it. Do it with your whole strength, your whole mind, your whole understanding. Yes.
It's not just about identifying what you can do or identifying your capabilities and stopping there with it. You have to even go deeper into it and just don't imagine it, but do it. Just don't wish for it and stop there. You have the ability, by the way, to do whatever you want to do, so long as there is ambition, there is zeal. After identifying who you are, after identifying what you can do, your abilities and capabilities, you can go into it and venture into it and thrive, by the way. You will succeed when only you take the step. Now, Reverend, I have this question. How do you believe your self-awareness impacts your sense of self-belief? Like we had talked about this, getting self-aware of yourself and then the personal growth. And then I also want to take it deeper into belief. You know, I take believing as something which is different from just being aware of myself. So how does my self-awareness impact my belief about myself? Yeah.
Your self-awareness will so much impact your life or your self-belief. And we said either in the positive way or in the negative way, depending on you. Have you understood yourself as a person who is capable, or you've understood yourself as a person who is weak? Therefore, the first thing should be understand yourself and go and develop. Be positive about yourself. Being positive about yourself will help you do better what you know about yourself. So we need to be we need to develop a mind of positivity towards ourselves.
Talk of positivity towards ourselves. Who you are not, and you will believe that is who you are, and yet it is a lie. So the question is, how does our relationship
affect our self-belief? Okay. Our relationship with others, I would say, it will so much affect the way we know ourselves. For instance, if my relationship with that other person there, he is good, the end result, or whatever we engage ourselves into doing, will definitely give a positive result. So if our relationship is bad, don't expect any good thing to come out. So I would say our relationship with others will help live. Others will see a potential in you, and they would want also to build that potential. But if then you have no relationship, even what you have will not be shaped. Remember we said our self-belief can be shaped both from positively and negatively. The surrounding can shape you, your past can shape you, and our relationships actually also shape our self-belief. They affect the way we see things. They affect the way we do things. Yeah.
They shape our self-belief. Now, where do you find yourself? Are you in that environment where people are always talking negative about you? You have to avoid that. You have to avoid such spaces. Look for spaces that put positivity about yourself, because these relationships that you have with others, they will impact your self-belief either positively or negatively. Now, let's go into this space where maybe somebody finds themselves in a space where the environment is shaping them negatively. How can they handle criticism? There is also critics and negativities. How do they handle it?
I would begin by saying criticism is both good and bad. It all depends on how you take it. If you are positive towards criticism, it is most likely you make it better. So I would begin by saying you can consider a role model. Yeah, Sophie, you can criticize me in a negative way. And when I look at even you, I realize, okay, maybe there is no way you are going to help me. But then, I can't lack somebody somewhere who can become a role model, and I borrow the good things that person does. Not every criticism that is bad. There are other critics that are good, that shape us, that come to tell us, come on, what you are doing, you need to do it better than this. So let's understand, let's take some critiques positively. But then, if it is not working if it is not working with you, somebody else has a better thing for you. Look for that model. And I think by so doing, you will get some factors, some characters, some things that will help you from that other person. Yes.
Well, because it's very people in front of us have walked that path, they have made mistakes, and if we get closer to them, we will not get to make those mistakes. In fact, we will have a better path to walk through. And it's very important to get these role models, to get these mentors. Now the question is, how do I get one? Yes?
It's both easy and difficult to get a mentor, because not everybody who is a mentor. But you see, if I can just go back a bit, when we talk about identifying mentors, these are people who have what we call the shared values. Sometimes there are values that are with a friend who you can share together. But as you are saying, it is not easy to get a mentor. You need to take time. Take time to know what you want, the values you want, and the kind of people, many times the kind of people that surround us is where we usually get people will help us as mentors. You cannot walk out from here and get a mentor in Congo. Somebody whom you do not know, whom you have no common values, you've never seen, it's difficult. So I would say the environment, people within our circle, many times they make our mentors. And the best way to identify a mentor, I have just said, you need to take time to learn them. You need to take time also to understand yourself, because what you are is what you see in other people. Immediately you know what you are and you understand what you have, you will see with other people. And then you can say, okay, right, so and so, it's good, can become my mentor, can help me in doing this and that. I can copy what he or she does. Yeah.
Yourself in some answers to it.
I would say, one, you need to make a list of your values. Making a list of your values helps you to brainstorm through the list of mentors whom you want to be your mentors, or to be your people who you can be associated with, or people you can compare yourself with. So make a list of values. Yes.
All right, making a of your values. We had talked about setting goals, and at the beginning of the show we made a mention that it is very essential for everybody. Life goals, you have to set those goals. And then we also talked about getting mentors. What else can be in your list? It is going to depend from person to person, by the way. Mine will not be the same as yours, and yours may not be the same as Reverend's. So it's going to depend on what you want for yourself, what your strengths are, what your capabilities are, what your passion is, and what you want to grow into. So now,
And maybe to add on that, you can also rank those values. You rank them. It's like saying divine and refine them. Rank them. If you list these values, you rank them from above downwards. And exactly upon ranking your listed values, now you go to what we call now prioritizing. You now begin getting one by one, and as you reach to the end, or to the last, according to your list, now you will have known, right, this person is the right person to shape me, is the right person to emulate. This is the right way for me to go on. Yeah.
so after setting those goals, you have to rank them. Which one is more important? That will be necessary for the future, but there are those that you will have to start with now. And I feel it's like a step, like it's like a, how to say it, a staircase, like the stairs, they are in steps. I have to go first to this, that will connect me to that will connect me to. And you will tell us to it.
What do you say? So many of them. Yeah, of course. I would say where I am today. To some point in life, everybody has got their own story. And these stories, they are what we call past experiences. In a way, they shape you. But it depends whether, one, you got the right coaches or mentors in your life. It reached a point when I was growing up as a young man, and I thought I had set goals. I thought myself as capable of doing many things as a young person in school. But it reached a point in life, I realized there is much ahead of me. There were so hard things that were surrounding. And now these things are coming as an obstacle. I began saying, now, it's like my dream is over. But within that complexity of life, you know, when you believe in God and you have goals that are set, even if comes what, you still stand on your goals. Yes. Then God provided a man of God, and we were able to sit down, and I looked at him and I thought, this was a man of God who was our pastor. I was able to say, this man of God, if I share what I'm doing, I think he will help me. Thank God he became my first mentor. When I shared what I'm going through and my goals, now the man of God began working with me. I tell you, within a time, I began seeing light. I began coming back to life. I began coming back to normal life. Somebody who had lost hope. Somebody who had seen life as nothing. Somebody who had decided to leave their own land and they go away because challenges are too much that you cannot withstand. But by a simple action of identifying a man of God to be a mentor, he was able to get me back to the track. And I understood life. I began seeing life in different perspective. I began understanding what life is, and I began understanding there is much ahead of me, but I need to persevere now for me to overcome. Let me say this. Greatness does not begin with greatness. You must begin somewhere for you to go somewhere. Any man with a story to tell today, at a given point in life, they met obstacles. So don't you think to arm yourself, or don't you think that you are weak because of something that just happened the other day? No. Whatever is happening right now has nothing to do with where you are going. Set your goals. These are things that are shaping you to fit into the life. Yes.
The last be preaching, but yours may be in that particular area where you're growing into, maybe career-wise, or even hobby-wise, or even whatever you want to do. Identify that mentor and move with him. When these obstacles come, they are going to guide you better. But then for now, if you don't know, if you don't have a mentor yet, if you're still in the process of identifying that mentor, you know, criticisms and challenges are what breaks young people down easily, especially from achieving their goals. And we're here at the show. There are critics everywhere, by the way. We're here at the show and someone is, maybe they're texting me in my inbox right here at the show that, you should do this, you should do this and do this. You may find that at some point the confidence level rises from just because of a word somebody had said. So, Reverend, what I'm thinking is that when people are criticizing you or when these challenges come, we should make them as strengths to build ourselves and move forward, because we can only take the important in it and leave the rest, because the rest don't matter. If I can only absorb what can make me grow, obviously I will grow. Now you share this situation where you overcome a challenge. Now I want us to help somebody. How do we start developing self-confidence and self-trust even in the midst of negativities and challenges? Yeah, self-confidence and self-trust.
Interesting. I would say live in alignment with your values. Living in alignment with your values means even when you are criticized, you are overcome by or you meet with the situation, your focus still remains. You remain strong and you remain geared towards what you were purpose. To promote the sense of purpose. Why do I exist? Why am I who I am today? What am I doing what I'm doing today? So many young people are so much discouraged. Maybe by the kind of life they find themselves in, or maybe by their peers, or maybe by the nature. Where you find yourself, you find it's a total discouragement. But you need to remember, for you to move, you must have set goals, align yourself with them, and work towards achieving those goals. So, is it possible for a young person or for anyone to come back to their sense of belonging or understanding or self-belief? Yeah, it is easy. How is it easy? Sometimes you look for the mentors, you can fail to get them. And totally you don't see anyone who can help you in life. Develop what we call self-motivation. You must motivate yourself. You must say, even if the whole world is not there, myself, I will still exist. Develop a self-motivation kind of spirit. Because you already know what your self-drive is. Motivate yourself. Think yourself positive. Even if others are saying it's not possible. Even if I don't see anyone who can help me come back to understand myself, to believe in myself. Personally, I know I can. Number two, it's not necessarily you see people physically. You can keep yourself busy. For example, if you are a person who loves reading, sometimes reading gives us new understanding of ourselves. Read new stories of new people, books. Information is everywhere. You can venture into fields of study and other things. I don't know whether this happens here in Uganda. At our place, I have come across young people who have developed some kind of discouragement in life. For example, a young lady or a young man was dating, then After some time, the relationship breaks. When somebody has already given themselves into it, then it breaks. What I have been seeing, and I think this is self-motivation, I have seen guys, if it's a young man, would go and, because now he doesn't want to engage again in that kind of stress, or he goes and, some who love education, they go and they continue learning. Somebody does a degree, the first one, the second one, they want to get busy there. Others buy cars to motivate themselves. I've met several who have told me, Pastor, you see, after this happened, I had to buy a car to just motivate myself. I had to build a house to motivate myself. I had to go back to school to study just to make sure that all this stuff has gone. So look for a way. Look for something that gives you peace, something that gives you self-motivation.
Well, know that people will always be there to motivate you. Right? Sometimes you need to motivate yourself. Now, talking about that, a lot of say abusing the kid, or just telling the kid literally your head is big, or some body part is not proportional to this, and they say this just to anger the kid. When the kid does something wrong, they're reminded that they're dull, they're not doing well at school, and so on. So there is that a lot of negativity that can be thrown into the kid, and even the naming of the child alone, you will know that this mother was going through a lot and is just trying to throw the frustration on this kid and so on. So a lot of people grow up with limiting self-beliefs. So let's talk about this. How can we overcome these limiting self-beliefs? And you can also share if you have any other story where you have overcome a limiting self-belief before. Yeah.
Gite is a dog.
Okay.
In English. So can you imagine what a dog...
Somebody's name.
Yeah, can you imagine what a dog does? The reason as to why we realized our people gave such names
bad name, so that those spirits will not steal away the child. Now, later when the child would sustain, would live. But then you realize the characters, in a way, they are affecting the child. It's almost like a dog. So I would say the names and the things we say to our children, they so much affect them. So we need to be careful what we call our children or what we give to our children. So now again, if you have found yourself in such an environment, I request may not see your purpose. People may not realize your abilities. But I want you to know from today that there are divine purposes as to why you existed. And with the time, they begin coming out. You begin realizing, oh, kumbe, this is what I was born for. When I finished my studies, this is a personal life, I went to work. I went to work to town. God was calling me. But I lived in denial. No, I don't want this thing. So I went to work. I got a good job with in a company. I worked as an engineer with the Kenya Hydraulics. I did the job. But I tell you, I never enjoyed for the rest of time that I was there. I never enjoyed because what I was doing, I think, is not what I was meant to do. There are things that you can do, but that is not what you are made to do. So in such kind of environment, I began asking God to reveal my purpose for life. And it is in that kind of environment, God called me and told me, this is what I called you for. And believe you me, all what I admired with the secular world is what I have even when I am in the Christian world. So you can get anything you want in life as long as you are walking and serving your life purpose. And this life purpose, life importance, if you fail to see it from people, get it from me. I know in every religion, nobody tells you, no religion that tells you you have no importance. God created us for a purpose and for a given purpose, and for we are of importance. And we have values that have been given by God that cannot be disputed, come what may.
There are values that have given by God. Our upcoming parents. Reverend Dr. Lotta these children, and there's a lot we have to put. But I said what put in the mind of a child grow with it, and it will be very difficult to be able to put a role in their mind. So whatever we should to stay will remain. And by the way, it always comes around also to frustrate the parents when these kids finally grow up. So put positivity in the mind of your kid. Put relevant informations in the minds of your kids. And there's a lot of technology these days, and even parents go up to the extent of buying guides for these, for your 5 years old, 4 years old kid to play and to do assignments. Please and please, let's monitor them. What information are they getting from this media? What information are they absorbing in their minds? We have to monitor this. We have talked. Let's have into some things and then fail. The environment is telling you you're going to fail. People are telling you you're going to fail. Even something is telling you you're going to fail. You motivate yourself by and still fail. So how can someone come out of failure? Yeah. Okay. The truth is there are times you really try hard, you try very hard, and then you still fail. You were still trying to explain to us that, but I just wanted to chip in shortly with this example. Maybe your mother told you a lot of negativities, and then all your people told you a lot of negativities, and you fail. It becomes like a confirmation to them. Yeah, you can continue. Let's help these people as well.
Yeah, I just said you keep on trying, but you are failing. I would like to say, just keep on trying. If that is where your heart is, the first failure, the second failure, the third failure does not mean you are meant to fail forever. There's a president in America, I may not remember exactly, but he tried to contest for presidency for so many times. And believe you me, the last time he contested and he won. Later he became, after trying so many times. So
Well, don't of course, better days will come. Now we are left with only 30 minutes to end this show. But for now, let's get a short break. And by the way, we have comments on the YouTube. We are going to be reading them in the last 30 minutes of the show. And if there are questions that you have, you can put them up and we will answer. If there are comments, you can put them up. But for now, let's have a short.
West Nile TV, lighting up the region.
The search for Miss Uganda is back on Star Times Makula Chika. All regions compete for one crown. Who will be the next true Ugandan beauty queen? Do you have the looks, the brains, the confidence? This is your chance. For registration, log on to www.missuganda.co.ug before 20th June. Miss Uganda 2025 premieres on 27th June at 8 p.m. on Makula Chika. Stay connected on Star Times to watch the journey to the crown.
Miss Uganda, true Ugandan beauty.
This search is sponsored by Vian Esheri, Sino Mbale Industrial Park,
U-Home,
Xiaomi, and Tico Safari Lodge, and lead sponsor Tianao Furniture Manufacturing.
It's time to break free with Azam TV. Grab yourself a full kit at 80,000 shillings or an Azam decoder at 40,000 shillings. Experience the thrill of every goal in La Liga, Italian Serie A, German Bundesliga, and the excitement of live sports action from the Saudi Pro League and Carabao Cup on Azam Plus and Play Package in HD. Your favorite China Uganda movies on Chamuka TV on Azam Pure for just 13,000 shillings monthly. Unlock a world of sports and entertainment with Azam TV, the most affordable pay TV around. Visit any of our agents or call 0312-308-900 for more details.
Azam TV, entertainment for everybody.
West Nile TV, lighting up the region. West Nile TV, lighting up the region.
The search for Miss Uganda is back on Star Times Makula Chika. All regions compete for one crown. Who will be the next true Ugandan beauty queen? Do you have the looks, the brains, the confidence? This is your chance. For registration, log on to www.missuganda.co.ug before 20th June. Miss Uganda 2025 premieres on 27th June at 8 p.m. on Makula Chika. Stay connected on Star Times to watch the journey to the crown.
Miss Uganda, true Ugandan beauty.
This search is sponsored by Vian Esheri, Sino Mbale Industrial Park,
U-Home,
Xiaomi, and Tico Safari Lodge, and lead sponsor Tianao Furniture Manufacturing.
It's time to break free with Azam TV. Grab yourself a full kit at 80,000 shilling or an Azam decoder at 40,000 shillings. Experience the thrill of every goal in La Liga, Italian Serie A, German Bundesliga, and the excitement of live sports action from the Saudi Pro League and Carabao Cup on Azam Plus and Play Package in HD. Your favorite China Uganda movies on Chamuka TV on Azam Pure for just 13,000 shillings monthly. Unlock a world of sports and entertainment with Azam TV, the most affordable pay TV around. Visit any of our agents or call 0312 308 900 for more details.
Azam TV, entertainment for everybody.
West Nile TV, lighting up the region.
All right, this is the real talk show that comes to you at West Nile TV on Saturdays from the hour of 8 p.m. to 10 p.m. You're most welcome to join us. And today, as you can see, I'm not here alone at the studio. With me is Reverend Titus, all the way from Kenya. And we are answering the question, what do you believe about yourself? We have talked a lot in the show, and then I want us to...
Actually, we just came back from talking about failures. And the last point was you have to continue moving on. You have to keep trying and trying and trying until you make it. And don't give an opportunity for those who have been waiting for your failure to laugh at you. Continue trying until you make it. Prove them very wrong.
Now, I want us to talk about conflicting desires and goals.
Yeah.
How do we overcome that? Because at times the goals and our desires may conflict
With each other. So how can I overcome
that. Yes.
Maybe I would begin by saying conflicting goals are those objectives that when pursued together, they create a situation where one goal pursuit is negatively impacted.
Okay.
And the cause to this, a conflict can arise from competing resources. When resources are limited and one wants to compete for them. For example, you are doing this, you want to do this. I'm a pastor, I want to be a teacher, I want to be a lawyer, I want to be, because resources are limited. So we are calling it nowadays, the young people are calling it hustling. I'm trying to do a side hustle.
Yeah.
You want to do a side hustle, you want to do it here, because the resources are limited. So you realize you are doing many things at one time and you are the same person. You are only one person. So there comes some kind of conflict. You find yourself, you are in conflict. You don't know what you are best at. You don't know what you are good at. And sometimes you can fail on one or both of them fails because you cannot serve two masters very well at a go. It means one has to come first and the other has to come first. So we need to understand what we are best in and we prioritize. This is what I am called for. Yeah, you can do other things as the side hustle, but at least you need to have your strongest point, your strongest thing, your strongest goal that you are pursuing, that even if what comes, you still die hard for that goal. Yes.
What I know is where there is a will, there's always a way.
There is always a way. Yes.
There's always a way. And even if the resources are limited, when you focus on it, somehow ends will meet.
Yeah.
Yeah, somehow those dreams will get to be achieved. Now let's talk about building resilience.
I need you just to take your time talking about this. How can we build resilience in all these things? We have talked about challenges, we have talked about setbacks or failures and overcoming limiting self-beliefs. We have also talked about a lot of things.
Yeah.
So I've come to realize that all these things need patience, they need resilience.
Yes.
How can I build resilience in order to achieve my goals?
Yeah, resilience, as we can just define it or explain it, it is both the process, it's both the process and the outcome of successfully adapting or trying to adapt to a given situation. It is that forbearance. It is that you are trying to adapt. You are trying to cope up with a situation. It means having the mental, emotional, and behavioral flexibility.
Okay.
You can sometimes change. If situation is this way, you can adapt. Sometimes you are flexible. You are not tied to one thing. You are flexible. You can change to make sure you come into agreement within yourself. It is the ability to withstand. And everybody has to develop this resilience. Because in life, not as I said before, it is not everything that you will do at first and you succeed.
Yeah.
You need a lot of patience. And I think this is what many young people are lacking. We are lacking patience. We want to do things at a go and we want them to just blow up. Today I have finished school. Tomorrow I have built bungalows. I'm driving Mercedes-Benz. I am doing this. I'm thriving. We need to build some kind of resilience. We need to be patient with ourselves. We need to understand. We need to do one thing at a go perfectly.
Yeah.
And if you do one thing at a go perfectly, you win it all.
True.
Yes.
Wow. Doing one thing at a go is very essential. Stop venturing into
A lot of things, and you know, this is also true in this part of the world. The hustle is intense. Like you do a lot of things and at a go. And what I see is that, as you had said, you may fail in one or you fail